everybody, welcome back to the Horn Hangout. So great to be here again, and I have some amazing guests for you tonight. But first, I want to say hello to all of you in the chat. I know a lot of you are watching on Facebook. Welcome to you. If you have any juicy questions from my wonderful guests tonight, get over onto our website, sarahwillis.live, and you will be able to ask us any juicy questions, and we'll see if we answer them or not. We'll do our very best. If you're watching on the website, I can see you here on the chat. It's incredible where you're all watching from. Slovenia, New York, LA, Annie Bosler, Randy Gardner, New Jersey, how nice. Claire's dad is watching. Vilka is watching from the Navy Symphony Band of Mexico. David Elliott, who was a member of the Marine Band during the Johnson years. I tell you, they are all here. And a big welcome to Major Stuart Halliday, from who will be answering any of the British Army musician questions that we don't get to today. So welcome to you all. I hope you can all see this. Let me know where you're watching from, because everyone in the Hangout today will have a copy of the chat later on, so they'll be able to see. Without further ado, hi guys.
Hi.
Hi.
Big welcome. Everyone's they're being quite quiet at the moment. I'm sure we're going to change that. I am incredibly honored and very, very humbled that you guys have said yes to joining in on this hangout, because I think actually it's the first time you've met each other. We have 4 members of the Horn section of the President's Own Marine Army. What's the tell me, Hilary, how do you say the official title? It's quite a mouthful.
It is the President's Own United States Marine Band.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yes.
We're calling you PO in the, in the Zoom. Big welcome to you guys, and a big welcome from my hometown, London, to the members of the Horn section from the Coldstream Guards, band of the Coldstream Guards, with one guest, Chris Shelton from the Irish Guards. So welcome to all of you. It's the first time you've all met each other, isn't it? Have you? It's about time you sort of. Well, I guess probably now is not quite the right time for transglobal visits, but I think we have to set up some sort of horn event going on between the two bands. Let me introduce. We started off with Hilary, who is this. This is the hardest part of the hangout. I've written it all down because everyone has a different title. Hilary Harding, Master Sergeant Hilary Harding, who's the principal horn of the President's Own Marine United States Band, right?
Close enough.
Got all the words.
I got all the words. Welcome. And Doug, I just saw you down there. Gunnery Sergeant Doug Quinzi, welcome, the co-principal. Where are you? You're down. You see, I see you all probably in a different order that you've all, I don't know where you are sitting, but you're sitting right next to Hilary on my
I see myself. I'm not sure if you see me.
Oh, I see you. I see you. Welcome. And then we have 2 gorgeous girls. Here we have Cecilia Buettgen, Staff Sergeant. Welcome. And Staff Sergeant Claire Ross. Welcome to you. You're the newbie, right? More or less.
Yeah.
How long have you been in the band?
I just had my 2-year anniversary at the end of August, so.
So you really are, because Hilary, you're actually, well, Doug came right after you, didn't he? But you've been in the band forever.
17 years now.
Great.
Yeah, 17.
But you didn't start off as principal horn.
No, I didn't. I started off as section like everybody else, and then I was assistant principal like Doug in 2008. So I held that title for a bit, and then when the principal retired, I moved up.
Well, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about your auditions, about how people can get into the band, and all the questions people. We've had some great questions on already, mostly about marching and playing. But may I introduce my great friends from the band of the Coldstream Guards, who I have a great history with. We did some wonderful filming together, and I embarrassed myself thoroughly. And if you all behave, I think we have a clip of that. Jakob's got a clip of that up his sleeve for later. Color Sergeant Nicholas Stones, we call him Nick. Hi, Nick. How you doing?
Well, fine, how are you?
Where are you exactly?
I'm actually in my boss's office at work.
Can you come a tiny bit closer to the microphone so we can hear you better? And you've got your polo shirt on with the Coldstream Guards
Yes.
emblem. And what's that little furry thing next to you? Can you show us?
Testing.
Yes. Hey!
What's our testing?
Now, we'll get to that later, but thank you so much for bringing those with you. Sergeant Michael Rimmer, we call him Mick. How you doing?
I'm good, thanks, you.
And where are you? You're at work as well. I recognize that room.
Well, I'm actually in the Band Sergeant Major's office next to Nick. He's that way.
Oh, is that socially distancing in the army?
Yeah, by a wall.
So you've nicked the other hats.
I have. I've got a Welsh Guards plume here and an Irish Guards plume here.
Okay, well that's good because actually Chris, Lance Sergeant Chris Shelton, who's right up next to me, I don't know where you are and everybody else is, but you're from the Irish Guards.
Yeah, that's right.
But you guys have played quite a lot. You play all the time together, basically, don't you?
Effectively, yeah, we're kind of the same band. We come together a lot as kind of a massed band, and I'm part of the Household Division Horn Quartet along with Nick and Nick.
Which maybe a lot of you heard playing at the IHS in Ghent last year. We have a little clip of that. If I can manage the screen sharing, I'm going to be showing you a couple of clips if it works. And last but not at all least, we have Lance Corporal Kavel Alexander. Welcome.
Hey everyone, hi.
Welcome. And you're the newbie as well, even though you've been...
I am the newbie, yes. I am the newbie. The baby to the red machine.
But you've been in the army for a while.
Yes, I've been in the army for 13 years. I actually left the army in 2009 for 4 years and came back in 2013.
Yes, and we will be... you have a little surprise for us later on as well.
I think so.
That's good. That's good. If everybody behaves. Anyway,
yes.
Welcome to all of you. There are so many people that are saying that they tried marching with a horn in high school and that it's so hard. There was something that that Hilary told me yesterday. Can we start off with that, Hilary? You told me about the first women to march in the President's Own band.
Well, it wasn't actually in the President's Own.
It was
during
in
World
America.
War. Yeah, but during World War II, when all the men were off fighting, they wanted to form a band to sort of get people excited and to raise money. So they formed an all-female band, and members of the President's Own went down to train them, which at that time was all male. And it was a unit of all women, and they had to march in 2-inch heels, and they were issued lipstick, rouge, and nail polish in a special color of red. And they had to take care of their completely white uniforms, and they traveled all over the country for 3 to 4 years during the war, raising money.
Well, there's no... what about the horn players? Did they have to wear lipstick? I saw Claire...
I don't know if they had to wear the lipstick when they performed. I would hope not. But they were issued it, and for photos and for all of the selling of war bonds, they were required to look very ladylike.
Goodness. Well, goodness, you guys, the Coldstream Guards had Danae. She was, and you aren't a stranger to girl horn players. You've had some, just not at the moment. You have a job free, so girls, get over there. You need Nick. What's the situation right now in your horn section?
Well, we've got a girl, Lucy Birch, is joining us hopefully in a couple of weeks' time. She's just in training just now. So we've had quite a lot of females. We had a lady called Rachel Lee, who's a very good horn player. She moved on to a regional band. And we had Danae briefly, and she went to the Irish Guards. And so now we're getting Lucy. So the section will be complete then.
Great. So for those of you who are watching who don't know what these two bands do, Doug, can you describe your job? Can you give us your job description?
Well, we have one principal mission as members of the band, and that's to provide music for the President of the United States and the Commandant of the Marine Corps, which means we're requested at the White House a lot, but also at all sorts of military functions in the Washington, D.C. area to support the Commandant. Most notably, we support military honors ceremonies at Arlington National Cemetery, but we also play military ceremonies for the arrivals of dignitaries and other other officers from other militaries, and various other ceremonies that pop up. Basically, if we're directed by either the White House or the Commandant's office, we go. And in addition to all of that, we have our musical duties, which include concert series year-round. We have a summer concert series. Those are outdoor concerts. But we also have a very involved chamber music program that goes basically the whole year round. And there's also, of course, our national tour every October. We take event, not this coming October, but every October we go to a different segment of the country. So that is basically everything.
Okay, Mick, what would your job description be? Keep it quick.
Well, we provide music for state ceremonials, so the changing of the guards, Queen's birthday parades, Cenotaph, Festival of Remembrance. But we also do a lot more than that, concert series, and yeah, we travel all around the world.
Can you see this? You got, oh no,
Yes.
no, we don't want that one. We wanted another one. Sorry guys. I wanted this one. I don't know how to do that. No. Oh my goodness. Okay. You see, this is what's going to happen. I don't, someone's got to help me with these. I have all these things lined up. I had a wonderful thing of you all marching it, and I'm only getting the Sarah's Music Horn Challenge, which I do not want to show you yet. Tell us about the duties, the birthday celebrations and all that. I mean, you're not based in London all the time. You have to go outside. You're in Windsor, I mean. You know, where else do you play? You're not only based at Buckingham Palace.
Sorry, is this me?
Yes,
Still?
you. Yes, you.
So we also changed the guard, not mostly I would say at Buckingham Palace, but we also changed the guard at Windsor Castle. So we march from Victoria Barracks, which is about 500 half kilometre away, I suppose. March up a very steep hill and change the guard there also. But at the Easter time, we also do an Easter court, which means we go right to the quadrangle in the middle of Windsor Castle and play on the grass there. But that only happens at Easter.
And may I just show you guys, I found it. I've worked out how to do it. Look at this.
And we'll be watching out for a new maneuver.
A real announcer.
To maintain the social distancing while turning. And as they set off, they'll begin fanning out.
There she is.
It's been called feathering because of its distinctive extending formation.
Okay. There. Nick, where are you?
That is.
That's my. No.
Where are you?
That's my
I'm
foot.
about four people down on the right-hand side.
There you are. I see you.
The one in the hat.
The one in the hat.
Okay, now I've got to work out how to turn it off. Oh, okay, got it. Are you still there? But I love to see that. That is for me pomp and circumstance, you know. And as a Brit, I mean, I was born in America, but my mother's British, and I feel a Brit. That's what we imagine when we see you all marching. This is the castles and the incredible nobility of it all. But I couldn't find a video of you at the White House, unfortunately. President-owned horn players. Why was that? Aren't there any?
Those don't tend to get out as much. It's on the news because the way if we're marching at the White House, it's usually for 4th of July, which is a closed event, or it's for an official arrival. And those actually rotate among all the other premier bands in the city. Because every branch in the U.S. has its own, what's called the premier band, which is stationed in D.C. to do all of sort of the official things here, mainly for burials and ceremonies at Arlington. So those tend to rotate. There's a really cool one of us when the Pope arrived, and maybe 10 years ago. I lose track of time, but those tend to be more closed events.
If any of you watching know of any good links for all of us to enjoy, please put them up in the chat. That would be fantastic, because I did my best to find some, but this screen sharing thing stresses me, and especially when Facebook is here and the live chat is here, and you're all waiting for good questions. There are some good questions coming in, actually. Marie asked, have all of your guests served in their countries as military first? How does that work? I mean, Chris, how does it work in England? How are you trained? Are you trained in the military, or do you go in as a musician and you stay a musician?
So the military obviously implies a wide range of trades, musician being one of them. But every single person that joins the military completes what we call basic training, which is everything from learning how to look after yourself in the field, to firing a rifle, to ironing your kit and looking smart. So as such, primarily our role is a soldier. But once everyone completes that training, you will go off to do your kind of secondary training. For musicians, we go to Nella Hall and study music before being posted out to a band. So yeah, it looks at how we are all soldiers first, but music takes up the vast majority of what we do.
Claire, how about President's Own? How you guys, you actually, all of you came from conservatories, right?
I actually went to a state school, but first we have to win the audition. If you're in one of the field bands, you have to go through the enlistment process first. But for us, we actually win the audition and then we enlist. So if you're in the President's Own, you don't actually go to recruit training or basic training or anything. We're, other than the Coast Guard, the only non-deployable units in the military. So we haven't gone to basic training. We're not rifle trained. We have certain markers on our uniform that designate that we are not rifle trained. Inside is a lyre instead of cross rifles. So yeah, I mean, we are enlisted members of the military, and you know, we do the duties of the military and get paid just as other people in the military, but we are not deployable.
I was sure I read that all of you went to music college, but obviously I was wrong. But you did, Cecilia, you did, didn't you? You went.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to school at the Cincinnati Conservatory of Music for my master's degree. And Claire did go to a school of music. There's just a difference in the terminology that they use for the music schools here in the U.S. So she went to Michigan State University, right, Claire? And I went to Western Michigan University for my undergraduate degree, and then to the conservatory. But they're all music schools.
They're all music. And your audition process, we were talking about it yesterday. Tell us, that fascinated me. I mean, in Germany, in my orchestra, you have to apply, and then we think about whether to invite someone, and then there's a first round, a second round, third round, but only if you get an invitation. But in your band, it's completely different. That's correct. So for our band, they put out an ad. I'll tell you my experience. I think that'll be the best way to kind of explain it. But I saw an ad in the International Musician, and the Marine Band will also post the openings on Facebook for a section horn player. And in our band, as Hilary mentioned earlier, everyone comes in as a section player. So when you get the list of 8 excerpts to play, it's to demonstrate that you have command of all ranges of the horn. Once you're interested in the position, you do submit your resume, but essentially if you are eligible to enlist in the Marine Corps, meaning between the ages of 18 and 34, then you're welcome to come and take our audition. We don't turn anyone away. So for my audition, there were 100 applicants that showed up for that day. Now, the similarities kind of start here with your audition. I'm assuming that everything is behind a screen for at least the first round. A lot of times for the second round as well. So we went from 100 musicians to 12 in the first round, and then the second round from 12 to 4 to 2. They had us play again, and then finally they said, actually, we've got 2 spots open. And so my friend Tim and I joined the band at that time. But I think it's a really great thing that people don't know about the Marine Band, because so many orchestras do expect you to have a very complex resume to show that you have the experience and the qualification to be in that group. But this group, if you can play, then we'll hire you. I mean, if you're a solid horn player, I think that puts you on a little more equal footing. And Hilary, I think you mentioned something about the 5 minutes that we give to everyone, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we guarantee we will listen, because I've sat on several committees, even the one where we had to listen to 100 people, which is a lot. And people are guaranteed 5 minutes.
You must
Usually they get more.
You must have heard some great things.
We've heard some really wonderful things and some really not in those 5 minutes. But sometimes it's a great brain break.
And then do you have to get tenure? Do you have a trial period in your band?
Kinda. The first 4-year enlistment is kind of the tenure process, but in all honesty, they can let you go at any time. If they choose to, or if you step out of line. That doesn't typically happen, but typically if you make it through the first 4 years, then you can make it for a full career, 20 years. They won't guarantee you past 20, but at 20 years you get a full pension.
Okay. Kavel, how do you get into the band of the Coldstream Guards?
Like everybody else, it's a very prestigious place to get into any of the household division bands. There are 5 of them, and for me, I've been waiting 17 years to get to this point, and I finally got here. I went outside. I left Camas to go and do something we call an E2 post out in Scotland, which is up north of England. And when my time was coming to an end, I was asked if I wanted to go to London, because it's always been a career aspiration of mine. And finally the opportunity came, and I was like, yes, please, I want to go to London. And I was very specific. I said I wanted to go to the band of the Coldstream Guards because I wanted to work with Colour Sergeant Nick Stones, because he is the best in the army. So this is where
Did you hear that, Nick? Yeah.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, so I got the opportunity then, and then I grabbed it with both hands.
Fantastic. And what Mick, what happens when you do you have to do you audition, you go and play, and then do you get a trial? How does it work with your band? Mick,
Mick.
Yeah.
Oh, you meant Nick.
Sorry,
Nick.
Mick, not Mick.
Well, there used to be that sort of system in the bands, but the Corps of Army Music is now very open, so you can transfer, or you can get posted or assigned to any band, any household division band, any what we call regional band, so outside of London. Literally, we don't audition anymore. You get either placed, or we will give a posting preference, 3 different preferences, and we will put our 1, 2, and 3 where we want to go, and maybe we'll get one of those, or maybe they'll put us somewhere totally different. But yeah, that's the system now.
Thanks. I'm just going to look at the chat for a bit and let you know what's going on here, because we've got people from bands from all over the world. I mentioned Mexico, Jeremy from France, from the band there is on. Gareth Trott is watching. I think you know who Gareth. Hello, Gareth. Gareth is a euphonium, is that right? Tenor horn?
He's a euphonium player in the Irish Guards band.
The Irish Guard, that's right. I met him in Birmingham, and he has a question for Hilary. How often do you do marching band events in the President's Own on average?
Well, before COVID, it was weekly, but the beauty of our band is we actually have enough musicians for 2 complete bands. We have 10 horns in our section, and that's because of our tour. And because of our association with the White House, we have to be available to provide musicians whenever asked, which can be quite last minute, or can be for something very odd, like Irish ensembles or something, and we will figure out a way to provide it.
I didn't understand that. Something very odd?
Well, whatever instrumentation, whatever
Not
type
that Irish
of
ensembles
the
are
White
odd.
House
That's not what
request.
No, but I didn't quite understand why you'd be called up to do an Irish ensemble. We have to mention that your band is not just a band. You're an orchestra and chamber music and a Irish band, and you're a swing band, I saw as well. You're like everything.
We are literally whatever type of music the White House or the Commandant requests, and we will find people in our organization that can play that type of music and provide it. That is we have we have a trumpet player who's a very accomplished guitarist who plays guitar at the White House quite often because we need an extra for a rock band or a jazz ensemble or a guitar and flute. So we march. It depends. There'll be weeks where I do nothing but marching at either at Arlington or at our Friday night tattoos or for some other arrival event or a change of command. And then there'll be weeks where I do nothing but concert work. So it just depends on the rotation and depends on what is being asked of the band at the time.
Can I ask you girls something? On all the concert videos, I've seen you wearing enormous blue or white skirts. The white skirts are really quite voluminous, I think is the word. You do not march in those, do you? No.
Thankfully not.
They're quite impressive. And who was it? One of you said that when you do education stuff, the kids go and hide under them.
I had that happen once where two small children out of daycare ended up underneath my skirt while I played a Christmas carol.
Yeah, it's quite impressive. I've got a question for me. The music requested from the White House, does it tend to be more sort of popular or does it tend to be more classical?
Depends on the administration. Each administration has their own preferences. I've served under 3 different commanders-in-chief, and each one had their own specific musical taste. President George W. Bush really enjoyed country music, so we provided a lot of country music bands. President Obama was a big fan of jazz, so we sent lots of jazz combos and such. And President Trump is actually a fan of pops music, so sort of like New York Phil in the Park type music. So we play a lot of Broadway covers and things like that. So it's very dependent upon the request of whoever is in charge.
Nick, what does the Queen like? Because sometimes you see her during these occasions and she looks rather bored, but then sometimes you see her and she's really enjoying it. I think she likes the horses the best, right?
I'm not sure. I mean, everything is vetted that we play for her. And lots of the things like Trooping McCullum and Cenotaph, it's very similar music every time. If we do small ceremonial things like dinners, we always have to send in a list of music to be checked first, or sometimes they'll just send out requests, and it's similar to the present song. It varies from whichever royal we're performing in front of.
Can you tell us who likes what? I'm dying to know. Look, I wore my British earrings. Well, I reckon it's red, white, and blue, so it would fit for all of us. But, can you tell us who likes what?
I can't, because it's all, we have a big selection process for the music for things like the Trooping the Colour, and we get the general and the garrison sergeant major and all the senior officers come and listen to the band. We'll play it beforehand and they'll debate which pieces they think are most appropriate. So I'm too small in the pay scale to know who's actually requested what.
I played for the Queen once when she was here in Berlin, and someone said, oh, she doesn't like the classical stuff. And I was playing my heart out for her, and I looked over and she was reading her menu. So I just thought, oh, well. But I'm sure she enjoyed it. I'm sure her spirit enjoyed it somehow. There's some great questions. Major Halliday is doing a brilliant job of answering all the questions for you guys. It's doing fantastic. Sarah says this Horn Hangout is beautiful. My godchild Stan is watching. He said, hi, Auntie Sarah. Annika asked quite a clever question. I think Annika's in South Africa. She wants to know which composer straddles the gap between marching band and orchestra the best. What do you enjoy playing? Chris, what do you enjoy playing in the band? Is there a classical composer, or I mean, I guess I daren't ask if everyone likes to play Sousa, because I know the President's Own put out a whole recording of Sousa. There's loads of them.
I'm not sure we're even done.
I'm quite a fan of Shostakovich, which might be a slightly odd one, but things like Festive Overture and his kind of jazz suites and so on. And correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure a lot of those have actually been orchestrated for wind and military band by Shostakovich himself. But no, they're very enjoyable to play. He's definitely one of my favourite composers. when anything like that comes out, I'm very happy.
Doug, how about you? Sousa.
You know, I will say that in a band like ours, it's you can do worse playing Sousa with this band. Like our parts aren't particularly interesting, but if you are just kind of listening to what's going on around you, it's quite pleasant. I think one of my favorites to play in the band is Granger. It's always a treat when there's a piece by Granger on that, especially with such a strong horn section. We can really, get after some of those moments.
If you are, how often do all 10 of you play together?
As far as I know, only at the inauguration, and even then, the numbers sometimes change from year to year. But when we're playing for the swearing-in ceremony at inauguration, you'll see all of us just right below the stage where all that's happening. And then I guess after the inauguration, there's a parade where all of us tend to cross.
And if I may, if you can see this, you did a huge horn ensemble concert in July. Kudos, I was watching, I was there, and I just thought, how on earth do you have chops like that after such a long time in lockdown? Listen to this, you guys. All right. Now, I actually, everybody clapped after that, and you couldn't hear it. It was silence in there.
Well, we played for an empty room because of COVID, so it's very strange to do concerts for the masses you can't see.
Oh my goodness. Here we go. It's your friend. It's Becky. God, this is multitasking. It was a great concert, and also that was Doug playing first, right? And then you played first on Hansel and Gretel. Oh my goodness, those high notes, very, very, very impressive. If I could, I would scroll forward and find it, but we'll put up a link. Maybe one of you can put up a link in the chat to that concert, because it's really worth hearing. And also your low brass are awesome.
Yeah.
Solid.
Good concert, yeah.
They really, it was a great concert. But so everybody, all of the, you've all been doing stuff for the COVID time. You put on this great concert also to keep yourself practicing, probably, because having to someone to practice for. And Mick, you guys have put on a lot of stuff online, haven't you? You've been recording nonstop.
We've done a few recordings. All the bands have done their separate little recordings over this COVID period. Yeah, I believe there are a lot floating around.
There's a link to them. If Major Halliday is listening, maybe he can put the link up, because you can download them for free, which is great. The other thing I wish I'd known about was the President's own Sousa play along. That looked like fun. Cecilia, what was that? What was that all about?
We just had an initiative where the Marine Band members pre-recorded in their homes each of their parts, and then we have a really excellent recording lab that put them all together, and then we just put an invitation out to people, anyone who wants to play along, because all of our marches, all the parts are available for free online, and you can download those parts and play along with the band in quarantine. We've done a few things like that. It's pretty fun. I think it keeps not only us playing, but hopefully everyone listening today playing. I know we all need a little extra motivation these days. So
totally. The big questions come now, which I think the boys are ready for, from London. how do you differentiate Welsh, Irish, Coldstream Guards from each other? Are their duties different? So can we show how, if we are all watching the Queen's birthday, how do we know which band is which? Mick and Nick, show us.
So all the bands differentiate from the colour of the plumes in the caps, but also the different badges on the red tunics and the how many buttons we have.
Can you give us a close up, somebody, of the? Can you show it in the? Looked a bit worried there. You see, they're hanging so nicely there. Okay, what have we got? What have you got, Nick?
So this is my jacket, and because we're the 2nd Guards Regiment, we have 2 buttons. So our buttons are in 2s. Yeah. So the Grenadier Guards will have a button all the way down. They're in 1s. The Scots Guards have 3 buttons in a row. The Irish Guards have 4 buttons in a row, as Nick's got one.
Nick is pointing out. So that's Chris. That's yours.
Indeed, it is. Yeah, thank you, Nick.
And
Chris is on paternity leave, so he hasn't been even get down to see it.
And the Welsh Guards have 5 buttons in a row, but we all have our different badges on here and here. But also with the plumes, this one here is Irish Guards. It's blue. This one here is Welsh Guards, which is white, green, white. The Coldstream Nick's got there. No,
that's not the Coldstream. There we are.
That's the Coldstream, which is red. And the white one is the Grenadiers.
That one's fallen off.
No, it's a really short, stubby one.
And the Scots Guards don't have one at all.
Oh, okay.
That's how you differentiate the bands.
All right, dear President's Own, there's going to be a test on this later.
3 buttons, 4 buttons, 5 buttons. Got it.
And Nick, can you just show us, there's something very important which they have to do before putting on their bearskins. Mick taught me how to do this when I was there filming with you. Can you guys, can you give us show us what you have to do to put it on? Look at this. Maybe you know this already, but I was very impressed. Ready? Nick is now showing. You have to shake it like a dot, and then yeah, and then you put it on. Nick, can you just show us the chin strap? Because for horn players, this is quite important. So we now need a close up of Nick. There we go. Look at that, guys.
Oh heavens!
Yeah.
So
we wear them slightly lower than the soldiers, so we can get our mouthpieces in. But it does, even just sitting there affects playing slightly.
Slightly?
Hugely.
I can't imagine.
I found that like literally it's here. So if you've got if you've got a mouth, if you've got a position that goes down, you can't. You just literally have to move it all up. Impressive. How about your Doug? You've got yours, and Claire, you have yours very close by. What can you explain? I've seen some ropes on yours.
Mm-hmm.
That's allowed to call it that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I am pretty junior here, so I only have 2 medals. Doug has a lot more than I do.
Show us.
Twice as many.
But yeah, we have these shoulder knots, which distinguish us as musicians. We also are in red. Everyone else in the Marine Corps has dark blue coats or black, but this distinguishes us as musicians. On our ceremonial uniform, which we march in, the pants, there's a white stripe down the leg that also distinguishes us as musicians as well.
So that nobody will give you a gun.
Yeah, or shoot at us.
And can I ask a real civilian question? What do you have to do to get the medals?
We actually rate when we get here because President Eisenhower gave everyone who serves in 4 different wars, which one is ongoing right now, the National Service Medal, which is the red one. And then the blue one is for the Global War on Terrorism. And that's happening right now. So when I got here, I rated both of them. but there are good conduct medals, and I'm not sure because I only have the two. Maybe Doug can explain that one.
The members of our band don't typically have too many medals. The woman you mentioned earlier, Becky, our concert moderator from that concert you showed, she served in the Army in Korea before joining the Army Field Band. So she is she gets to show off a little bit with her medals. She has way more than us.
Are you are one band and the household division are many, and the question is, are your duties different? Chris, how do your duties differentiate, or do you literally do the changing of the guard? One band is on duty that day, the next, you don't mix up very much except for horn ensemble stuff, right?
No, that's right. So yeah, we do effectively work as 5 bands, and we kind of share the changing the guard and so on. We come together for the big events like Troop in the Colour, the parade at the Cenotaph, and so on. But individually, we work with our own respective regiments. So as Irish Guards band, one of our jobs throughout the year is to play for St. Patrick's Day and give support to that parade, where Prince William and Kate give out shamrocks to all of the Irish Guards. So we all have kind of our regimental duties as such to perform. But yeah, that's about it, really. We do have different jobs. It's half and half, really.
I remember when I was there filming with you, I was so impressed at the amount of time you have to spend getting your kit ready in the mornings.
Yeah,
Kavel's nodding. You guys, you have to, it's shoes and ironing boards, and I was impressed. I've never done that much.
There's definitely a standard to maintain. We're kind of well known for being immaculately turned out on every parade, so you definitely become much more adept and much quicker at doing it. It takes quite a few hours the first few times, but you can get it down to half an hour or so, maybe.
Cecilia, you guys inspected as well?
Yes. We actually have a few inspections per year. So because we are enlisted Marines, that inspection also includes a weigh-in. That's very fun. You get to weigh in front of the drum major of the band. But yes, same as the other bands, we have to keep our shoes polished, and we have, it's called edge dressing. It's like a black, I don't know what you call it, like a black nail polish. You put it on the edges of your shoes to keep them shiny. You have to iron your trousers, and there's like a specific length that they have to be, and everything has to look very good, because you're not only representing yourself and the Marine band, but your country as well. And I just want to emphasize that it seems like a lot, but there's kind of a lot on the line. You want to make sure that when someone from another country sees you on television, that like you look respectable and you look the part. And also when people come into the band, there is a drum major who takes you through and teaches you how to put your uniform together and how to be more efficient when you're doing it, and how, so it's not so overwhelming. Like when you first get in, it's a lot, but then, within a couple of months, you get the hang of it. It just becomes part of the routine. You get there a little earlier, you get it together, and then you warm up.
Thanks. And now I'm going to get to the horn nerd questions, because we've got so many horn players watching. It's a horn hangout, of course we have. We haven't only got horn players watching. I know we have viola players, and and we have very loyal cello players that watch. But there's been a lot of horn questions, so I'd love to get to them. People want to know, what horns do you play on? What horns are in? Do you all mix your horns like? Kavel, in your band, do you all play on the same horn?
No, we don't. Right, for me, I play on a Paxman.
A good British Paxman.
Yes, solid. Yeah, and I love it. It's actually a Nick's old horn, so he's broken it. It's broken in nicely for me, so which is nice. Thank you, Nick.
Nick, are you still playing in Alex?
No, we actually do all play on the same horn. We all play on Paxton's just now.
You do now. What happened to the Alex? I thought you did have an Alex.
Well, we all played on Alex's, and then we got offered new horns, and we were Paxman's, and we just took them because we have the Alexanders for ages, and we loved them, but they do have a lot of wear and tear because we do so much marching, and there's lots of potholes. We go down potholes and things, and the
Do you guys march? Do you guys march with your double horns, like with your concert horns? You don't have two separate horns for concert and for marching?
No.
Oh my. We march with single B flat horns so that they're lightweight. And we have a concert horn. So
I hope Major Halliday heard that.
No.
Yeah.
What's it
Because
like?
some of our ceremonies are quite long, so your back starts to kill you if you're holding a double horn. So the majority of us now have single B flat or single F horns that we march with, because the music we play when we march, the range is limited enough that you can make do on a lighter weight horn. It's actually much easier to march with a lighter weight horn. It doesn't hurt so badly when you hit a pothole.
Yeah, I was just going to ask Mick, you were nodding at the pothole thing. What happens if you hit a pothole?
You go down.
Carry on.
What happens if there are horses in front of you? I've always wondered that.
Just carry on.
Just carry on.
You march through it.
Yeah, I remember when I was there and we were waiting for you to come. You were marching back from the mall, and we had one chance to get the shot. And so I was like standing almost in the middle of the road, and they were worried because you were supposed to, you were marching that way. And I said, "Look, Nick's coming," and I saw him coming. And afterward, and then we did the piece, and then you marched by. I said afterwards to Nick, "Did you see us?" And he was like, "No," and he'd like gone right past me. But Nick, you don't really see left or right, do you? You just go straight.
Well, we're supposed to, but we do sort of clock the odd thing. There's always some fantastic sights we encounter. Well,
I was not a fantastic sight. But can you just tell me something, Nick? I remember from the last interview we did, you said that when you joined the band, you had a bad position in the band. I mean, a standing position, I mean, physically. And then when you moved to principal horn, you got to stand on the outside. Can you explain why that's so much better?
Well, I used to, I joined as third horn, and I stood right behind the bass drum. And the bass drum's quite loud anyway, but we had a bass drummer who was, he's a legend. He was the loudest bass drummer I've ever heard in my life. And you come off parade sometimes and your ears were ringing. But as I sort of worked up in the section, I eventually got principal horn, and I've made sure I've stuck on the outside rank ever since. So it's not much of a problem.
How do your ears manage? Because it's incredibly loud, and also I'm watching you do your concerts. You're on this. The president's owner on this stage. In fact, I'm terrified to actually show you another one of this in case you get my screenshot. But I've got a lovely. If you can see this, it's very loud. How you're sitting. All right, wait for this. Can you see? This, yes.
Oh, there we go.
Know him?
Ever heard of him? A good one.
So explain what that was. We know who it was, but he's not your regular conductor, is he, Hilary?
No, I should let Doug take this because this happened on tour. This was the year that I was not on tour. My husband's also in the band, so we alternate tours. So it was my year to be home.
Yeah, I mean, we have this wonderful thing that started to happen recently. I'm not sure if it's an official thing or if it just kind of works out this way, but toward the end of our tours, we have some sort of like a gala concert, and that was our gala concert, and it was at the Royce Hall at UCLA. And let's see, we had been on tour for about 3 weeks at that time, and so we took kind of the 3 programs that we had been rotating throughout the tour and made this big monster program. And we were able to play with John Williams, which was amazing. We got to perform with Tom Hooten, the principal trumpet. He used to be in our band.
And his
but
wife
now
too,
playing in Los Angeles. And his wife played also. She was also in the band, and another member of the Los Angeles Philharmonic, Jeff Strong. So they did a Bugler's Holiday, which was fun. And let's see, I think I'm forgetting something, but there was a lot of really wonderful things on that concert.
But the audience didn't know John Williams was going to come out and conduct. It was a complete surprise to everyone, so that was really cool.
So great. I mean, that was his concert overture that he wrote like a long time ago. But you sit so close to each other, and it's. I mean, we sit near the percussion as well. We don't have shields, but we have enough room in the Philharmonie. You guys are really close to each other. Claire, how do you protect? Do you play with earplugs, or I mean, those shields really don't help very much, do they?
No, and our bass trombonists are very loud. When I'm sitting on the concert stage, I tend to play without earplugs, and then I kind of make up for it by putting earplugs in for every ceremony. It's really hard for me to play without earplugs, so I like to be in my prime without them when I'm on the stage. And then, yeah, when I'm doing any sort of ceremony, I put them in, and that's when I protect my hearing the most.
By the way, Tim is watching. He's putting up some links for us, so thank you for that, Tim. Yeah, I mean, marching is really doing concerts, band concerts are just a lot louder than symphony orchestra. That's just how it is. There's a lot of oompa. How do you keep your chops in shape? This is a big thing. I mean, anyone is welcome to take this. All of you. I mean, you have to play a lot of offbeats and a lot of really loud stuff, but as we heard in your horn ensemble concerts, a lot of high stuff as well. Oof.
I think it's kind of built into the job because we're constantly rotating parts. That some weeks you're playing fourth horn for a really major concert, and some weeks you're playing assistant and you're playing really touchy things. But we're constantly rotating. We're constantly playing with different people, so we kind of have to adapt. And there's really no other option than being able to play the full range of the horn, and at really any given moment, sometimes without warming up if we're at the White House. I think it's just constantly trying to be able to play the full range of the horn.
You can't warm up at the White House. You have to, there's no, you're not allowed to play beforehand. You just have to just perform.
It depends. I mean, when we have guests and they're there, we can't just be like kind of noodling around in their face. So sometimes we just have to sit there for a really long time and then, play a John Williams suite or something like that.
Huh.
I was gonna mention that I think just having a healthy routine on the outside of all those jobs is going to be your best bet for staying in shape. And that's true for any professional musician, I think. But just, if you play assistant, like Claire said, and it's high and touchy, then maybe you want to warm down at the end of the day and just make sure you're touching the other fundamentals of the horn as well. Taking a day off once in a while. I know some people hate that, but I really advocate for that. Not all the time. Don't take a week off but take a day off and rest, and then the other thing is, just being sure not to play with too much pressure. I think that's something that all professional hornists sort of have to learn, as their career goes on. And it's just being aware of those tendencies, what leads to an injury, pushing it in, not using your air correctly. So anyway, I could go on and on about that. That's a whole other topic, but I think it's just becoming a very efficient player. And Hilary and Doug, obviously, as our main principal players, know the most about that. But
do you find, especially after the marching, you have to repair? Because I had this one experience marching and playing, and it was terrible, and I felt like I'd bashed my face, and it was literally only 3 minutes, wasn't it? And Nick had written a piece especially, but you do it all the time. I mean, what do you do, Nick, when you've been marching around and fallen in potholes and slipped in horse whatever? And yeah,
there's sort of not much you can do. When I first started marching, I noticed it was absolutely devastating on the lips, and I found I did about 3 hours practice doing low stuff and flexibilities until it calmed down. But because we're playing on the march so often, there's nothing we can really do. I tend to do as much practice as I can, so to maintain the flexibility, because we get hit with all sorts of, we're doing brass quintets, 10-piece brass, and we're playing the orchestra quite a bit. and lots of recordings, and jobs tend to come in at the last minute. So yesterday we're recording a wind quintet next Wednesday, and it's fiendlessly difficult parts. So
you were recording a Mozart horn concerto yesterday, if I may just add that into the chat.
Yeah, that was I was just back from leave, and I had 3 weeks to prepare. And
Is that while marching? No.
It sounded like I was marching the way I played it, but
the mouthpiece question has come. We always have a mouthpiece question. It wouldn't be a horn hangout without a mouthpiece question. Ida wants to know: I'm not marching anymore. Do you use a different mouthpiece when you are marching than when you play a concert? Are there any advantages? No, Chris, you're shaking your head. No.
I used to, but I found it was harder and it affected me.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to use the same, except when it's extremely, extremely cold, and then I switch to a plastic rim because when it's like 17 degrees, a metal mouthpiece feels terrible. So plastic feels warmer.
The question also has come that I really want to know as well from Trejanus in Sweden. And he wants to know what happens. How do you empty out water while you're on a march? I guess you just don't.
You do, but it's a bit of a mix of luck, and it's trying to get that third E flat valve back in afterwards is a nightmare. It usually tends to pull in the one place. I think you all kind of get to know your own instrument and where it tends to pull. But no, you will see clips of us kind of marching down the mouth, spinning instruments around in between marches and so on.
I thought that was part of the show.
Yeah, it's close. We've had all sorts. So luckily I've not dropped a slide yet. We've had a trombonist in front of me drop a slide, which has been collected by someone behind me and passed back forward on the march. So yeah, it's kind of a nightmare scenario. But when needs must, you've just got to do it, I suppose.
Does anyone have to play horn on horseback? No. Question.
We have
Chris?
Sorry, go on, Nick.
Chris?
They play tenor horn. They play a tenor horn on the horses. So they'll play a French horn for marching on foot. When they get on the horse, it's a tenor horn.
Oh, God. I can't even imagine playing on a horse. Oh, dear. Tenor horns are played on horseback. Yeah, that's someone. Thomas Pinnell knew the answer to that, so that's really great. Mick, you were just there. Where did he go? He's gone. He had a picture. He's disappeared. He's left us. Oh well. Where is he? There he is. He's back. I saw a picture of him in his early music band. Do you have early music stuff going on in the President's Zone? Because the Coldstream Guards have an absolutely brilliant. You play serpents and dress up in original costume. You don't have it there, do you, Nick?
I've got the hat.
Oh, excellent.
That's the hat, and
but that looks just the same. Except I got to tell everyone they wear white tights.
I didn't bring the tights.
Tight white tights, I may add. Yeah, and you play really original music written for the band.
Yes, we play a lot of original pieces by Mozart and Haydn, and Beethoven. Beethoven wrote some cracking marches for in the 18th century band, and we play on the natural horns, which are actually they're quite good for playing on the march. I don't know if it's because they're so long to, but half stopping just doesn't work on the march. It has to be absolutely rammed in or open.
You just had a picture of you in the band. I saw it. Well, how did you put that up?
Hey, me?
Yeah, did you see it? Did you know how you did it, or was it just by chance?
No, I just had to change from iPad to iPhone.
Oh, okay. Well, it was a shame because I
saw it at all.
Because they come in. I saw one of the concerts at the chapel, and they come in and they, like they used to say hello to each other, and those. Are there any videos of that? I have to see that. Some clever person has suggested the title for a new CD, Mozart e-Marching. I don't think we'll be going there. Yeah. How often does the repertoire change? Asked Francis. That's a good question. Do you get the repertoire thrown at you? What happens? How does that work in the President's Own band? Does it change, like literally every week you're playing something different? How much notice do you get as to what you have to play?
It really depends on the week. When we do White House events, we have a folder about this thick, that's several inches thick, of just standard repertoire, and they just call out a list. The last one I was on, we played for 3 hours, and they just called a list out of things for us to play. And the president was an hour late, so we just continued to play to fill up the space. So that's typically what we do at the White House, is we have folders for the orchestra that are very thick, that have very standard things that are all sight readable. We don't typically rehearse for that. We just play. And for concert bands, for our concerts, we have a season brochure, and that's sort of decided ahead of time. And then if you happen to get on that concert, then you'll know what it is. But White House events, it's just kind of.
So you'll play.
We have sorry, I would add, we do have a really wonderful library, fully staffed, and their full-time job is to prepare all the folders, and they're really on top of it. So we'll typically get those programs 2 or 3 months in advance, and our section leader Jennifer, she's probably watching too. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi,
Jennifer. She'll task us for months at a time. So usually we have several weeks notice that we can go down to the library and grab the folder and practice. I mean, every once in a while there might be a like a last second event that gets added, like a bill signing or something. But even for those, we know it's probably going to be the standby book stuff. So we don't get completely surprised a lot of the time.
Yeah, but if you're playing for the president and he's an hour late and you have this huge folder and it's not in order, or do people call out what you've got to, so okay, number 43, and then everybody, is trying to turn the page, and you've got the folder on those, what are they called? The little mini music stands, what are they called?
Oh, no, we have a full music stand. These are sit-down jobs.
Oh, okay. Okay, they're not the marching. Nick, what's the name of that thing again?
A lyre.
Lyre, that's it. Oh, I'm such a civilian. I'm sorry. The lyres scratch your horns, don't they? Simon?
Yeah, they can do.
Kavel, do they scratch your horn? Are they built on, or did you have an extra? How does that work?
I've got it here and I'll show you quickly.
Oh yeah, great. And it's getting up to time for your surprise, I think, Kavel. Yeah, he's got a really good surprise to play us out with, so stick around. If you're watching us on Facebook and you have some last minute questions, hop over to the website and type them in the chat. If any of you watching on the website have some last minute questions or any comments or any greetings for anybody, write them all in, because all my guests will get to see the chat, and we love to know where you're watching from. And thank you for all the links, and thank you for all the questions. They've been really fantastic. Okay. Oh, good. Show us that.
Yeah.
It really
So
does look like a lyre. How does it stick onto your horn?
yeah, so it's got like a little lyre holder, and it's got a screw right here. I don't know if you can see that right here. And then you sort of screw it in, and make sure you do it really tight, or else you will lose the screw, and then it's going to be really, really difficult to keep it steady.
But if you're marching, you only have a few pieces, then they're shrunk, right?
Yes, they are. Yeah, and they're sort of like A5.
Sorry, guys, this is all this, but all of us watching don't. So this is what we want to know.
Yeah. So
A5. Okay.
So A5, Corporal, something like that.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, and it sits on here.
Yeah.
So this is the household division's backing card. Yeah, so it's like this basically.
That's small. So you really do not see when you're about to step in something the horse has left behind.
No, you don't.
I cannot believe you guys march with Paxmans and Alexanders. I can't imagine marching with the big double. I'm very impressed.
Tim has written in saying he's the last one that marches with a double in your band.
Yes.
Liv
I thought he might mention that. Yeah.
Liv has asked, what's the hardest thing about marching with a horn? Mick, what would you say?
Just keeping it on your face, really, is the hardest thing. Yeah, it's difficult, but you learn to adapt and keep it on there. It's okay. We're playing off beats most of the time anyway, so.
Claire, what would you say?
Yeah, I would say just keeping it on your face as well. Some of the more important things about music kind of go out the window for a little bit, like intonation, and you're just really trying to hit the notes. So
yeah, that is true. It doesn't help when you play low notes as well. Oh.
No, low's horrible.
It's in a way it's very good. It's a very humbling experience, and we learn not to speak ill of French horn players from other marching units also, because we know exactly how hard it is for them too. So.
Well, I promised some people I would show this because they hadn't seen it. If you would allow me to show our this is why I love the Coldstream Guards band so much, because they let me do this. May I show you this? Maybe, I don't know if you've even seen it. Where is it? It's here. I hope is this come up? Hooray! Yeah. Okay, it's literally 1 minute long. Section of the band of the Coldstream Guards have challenged me to play the horn and march and wear a bearskin hat. No idea if I can, but I'm going to have a go. Nick made this arrangement especially for the day. Well, there's something hanging in my face. There we go. Look at that strap.
Oh, God.
The tourists thought, what on earth is going on? Oh! Oh!
That's good.
You can't hear what I was playing. I turned the mic down. You did not want to hear that. Oh! That was
on you.
Oh, sorry. There she goes again. Oh, I tell you, this is so stressful. It was quite a moment. But Nick, thank you so much. Nick and Mick, thank you so much for letting me do that. It was, I come to have total respect for what you do. It was impossible. It was, I don't know how it just does this. And the low notes, how on earth? Anyway.
Low notes are a nightmare.
Pardon?
Yeah. Low notes are a nightmare. I'm in awe of anyone who plays full horn on the march.
Thanks, Nick. Thank you.
Mathieu wants to know, do you know by heart all the national anthems of the world? The main countries?
No.
You know your own?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The second horn part, at least.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So can I ask you, to finish off with, we've been going on, I've got some other videos. I think we'll leave, the videos are just, I'll put all the links to the videos up when we I've got the great video of you playing in Ghent. Chris, we'd finally get to see you playing in Ghent with the quartet. And I've also got your band playing Rienzi Overture, which I absolutely loved. That was so impressive. I've been through so many of your wonderful videos today. We'll put up the links to all of those. But can each one of you give me a highlight, an absolute highlight of an event? Because for us, as, normal people, we just see it looks very glamorous, playing for the Queen, playing for all these dignitaries in the White House. What have been your highlights? I mean, can we start, Nick? Can we start with you? And it's probably the rugby, I seem to remember, or was that Mick?
No, that was me.
That was you. Tell us, Mick.
So the sporting events, apart from all the, the change to the Guards and the Queen's birthday parades, the highlights for me are definitely playing the anthem at Twickenham. For the 2006 Six Nations, the noise, I had tears pouring down my face. Playing the national anthem, yeah. That's quite something, yeah.
Nick, how about you?
I think it has to be the Cenotaph Parade, because it's so emotional, and the music is incredible as well, and it's a big favourite of a lot of people in the marching bands. But other than the ceremonies, but the horn ensemble concerts we've done quite a lot of recitals, and we've aimed to get every horn player in the Guards division who's available to join in. 2 years ago we had 24, and everyone gets together and bonds, and we have a laugh, and it's great.
I'll post the link. We have a lovely video of that as well, of the one on the chapel steps. That was a wonderful moment. The fanfare that all of you played. I think there were 24 of you there. Hilary, what about you?
There's several White House events that stand out. Like there's several awards that are given out in our country, like the Medal of Arts, and we typically find out who the nominees are, and then we prepare special arrangements for each guest so that there's something from their past musically for them to remember. And I remember being at one event where Meryl Streep was being honored, and she was there quite early, and there was really nobody else in sort of the lobby where we were. So we started playing a medley of music from all of her past movies, and she stopped and stood in front of us, and you sort of watched. I mean, she's such an incredible actress and has such an open face, and you watched her relive her entire life as we were playing it, because it was about a 10-minute medley of like 3, I think it was Sophie's Choice and Out of Africa and all of those lovely movies. And to watch her sort of relive her experiences through music as I was, 20 feet away from her was really impressive. And things like that happen a lot, but that one really stood out. And then she came over and chatted with us, and that was really interesting.
Chris, how about you?
For me, it's definitely playing on stage at the Albert Hall for the Festival of Remembrance in November. Sat there with all of the lighting and so on. You've got the Queen sat just there watching, and it's going out live on BBC. It's fantastic. Celebrities and all sorts coming and singing and performing. It's a really great experience.
Concerts, you remember them with audience?
Hey, yeah.
Cecilia, what about you?
We did a concert several years ago where we didn't use all 10 horn players, but I think we used 8 of us. And it was a concert of all movie music, new and old. And our section gets along so unbelievably well. I'm actually surprised we don't get yelled at by the conductor more for as much giggling that goes on in the back. But we had a blast the entire week rehearsing this music. And like on the concert, the music was so fun that I know that's not like a really high profile job, but it was to make such great music with great people. It's just such a fun memory of mine.
Oh, sounds great. Doug?
Yeah, that was a good one. And you already showed a clip of one, the concert with John Williams in LA. Last year, I believe it was, we took a concert band to Japan and did a quick but challenging tour through that country. Kind of the centerpiece of that tour was the Japan Band Clinic in Hamamatsu. It was their 50th anniversary, and the crowd was amazing. And the band, I mean, it was intense, like kind of learning on the fly how to travel through that country, all as a group, just kind of walking around trying to figure it out. So it was it was one of those occasions where the stakes are high and you kind of have to rise to it. And it was, yeah, I won't forget that one.
And Claire, you haven't been in the band for that long, but I'm sure there have been highlights.
Yeah, for me, it was actually the John Williams concert in LA. Hearing everyone gasp when he walked out because they were just so surprised they didn't know he was going to be here was really cool. I just had a hard time keeping myself together. Like anytime he was on the podium, I was like fighting back tears. And then I loved after the concert, we took a picture with him as a horn section, which is the cover for this. And he whispered to me, "I'm so sorry I couldn't find the horn section," because he went to cue us and we sit in a rather unusual position in the band.
I had to look for you as well.
Yeah. And it was just kind of like a great moment. I mean, we like idolize these people, but like every musician we idolize is a real human. And it was just a really humbling experience for me.
He's so, I had the same thing. I jumped in with Boston Pops, and to play under his baton, it's just something, you can imagine how maybe they felt like that when they were playing Beethoven 5 under Beethoven, I don't know, but I was in tears too. Kavel, you have something very special to play us out with today. What has been your highlights? What do you enjoy doing the most?
Well, I've only been in the band 10 months, and I've done Meek, I've played at Twickenham, which is, I've never done that in my music career.
I think you better explain Twickenham. I'm not sure if...
So it's the home of England rugby. And and that's the rugby union.
And
so
rugby
that's
is not American football.
well, the NFL. That's the English version.
Like shape ball.
It's a lot more brutal.
Yeah. So for me, that was the highlight, being in the band, doing that, and also doing the Guard of Honor for the French president. So I've never done one of those. So it was quite nice to do that. That was nice for me. Yeah.
Well, if any of you watching are considering a career in the military, Hilary, how do people? Do they go onto the website? There's all the information there.
Yes, the President's Own website. We tend to post when we have an opening. Right now, we have a full section of 10. But if someone were to leave or retire, we would post that job, and you would audition just like any other orchestra.
But an American citizen only.
Yes.
Yeah. And band the whole household divisions. I think if you go and you Google British Army musician, you get all the information about. Is that right? Or is there a better way for people to find information? Major Halliday's still in the chat, so I'm sure he'll put a link in there. So it seems to be like an amazing job. It's just if it wasn't for the marching, I'd apply myself. Kavel, you're very versatile, and you've brought us a little something from light entertainment to say goodbye with.
Yes. So I'm not only a horn player, but I'm also a steel drummer, because I originate from the lovely Caribbean island of St. Lucia. And if you've never seen one before, there it is, steel drum.
Looks like one of those old hair dryers, you know.
Yeah. And I'm going to attempt something different tonight. I'm actually never done this before, but I'm going to attempt to play the introduction to my of my regimental march, Milanolo, on steel pan. It's never been done before, so hopefully I do it justice. Nick, I do apologize. I hope I don't get in trouble for it, but I'm going to give this a go. This is out of my comfort zone. So I'm going to try this.
Great.
So, in the right key as well. That's it.
That's it?
Yeah.
Oh, bravo! I thought it sounded like a mobile phone.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're going to say goodbye for now, but there's always an infamous after show Horn Hangouts party, which we turn the live streaming button off for. So we might persuade Kavel to play some more for us.
Oh yes, I'll get set up.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us online. Really, it's truly humbling where you're all watching from. It's just fantastic. Thanks for writing in. Thanks for letting us know where you've been watching from. All of you on Facebook, thanks for joining us. There's really a lot. And to you, wonderful people, it's great to feel connected in these weird times. You know, Washington, London, Berlin. It's really great. So thank you. And Hilary and Nick, you two have been amazing, because you helped me set this all up. I could not have done it. Hilary got this Facebook Messenger message from this crazy horn player saying, "Hey, do you think your horn section would be interested in doing a horn hangout?" So thank you so much. And Nick as well. You had to go. I mean, it's not easy in the armies to allow a live stream like this. So it's fantastic that we could do it, and it's just a great resource for all of us. So thank you. But we have to take a photo. We still need the obligatory Horn Hangout selfie. I brought someone with me. I think actually I might put him. That's mine. There he is.
Yeah, I should bring this.
Yeah, there he is. That's mine.
Here's a picture of Sousa.
Oh.
Oh, nice. Yes.
Okay. Oh, he's going out of focus. There he is. There he is. Come here. How do you do that? He's not doing it. Okay, all right. Well, forget that. He's not staying in focus. He's going to have to be my horn. Okay, everybody. Jakob, you sitting there, you're doing a couple of screenshots. We can, all of you, take some screenshots for us and put yourselves in them if you can. That would be amazing. Okay, ready for this? How did that tune go? Dun, da, 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 dun, da, 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 dun, 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 dun. Okay, 1, 2, 3, household division, president's own. I can hear some screenshots going on.
Marine, United States Band.
Yeah, yeah. Great. Thank you, you guys. Thank you so much, all of you, guys and gals. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you next week. We have a very exciting hangout once again on the 1st of October. We have, and you'll be amazed when you hear who the guests are, because they do not play the horn. They are the Melodica Men. Now, do you know the Melodica Men?
Yes.
They are the coolest people on this planet. And if you don't know them, go and Google them, because they will be the guests next week on the Horn Hangouts, because they use air. And Tristan's a trumpet player anyway, so and Joe used to play the bass trombone, so that's all completely kosher. But they've built up this incredible brand playing melodicas, and it's yeah. Have any of you seen them? Haven't you? Rite of Spring, Rhapsody in Blue. Okay, Chris, that's your.
Oh no, I have. No, I have. Yeah, I recognize it now.
They've done Super Mario. They've done 1812 Overture. Yeah, so they're the next ones. So I hope to see you all back here at 1st of October. And to all of you wonderful military horns, thank you very much. And see you soon. Don't go away, but see you soon. Bye, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Bye.